President, Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, good evening. The nerves have just kicked in, but hey. My name is Jimmy Fitzpatrick, and this is my icebreaker, which is entitled At Last. A bit about myself. Again, I'm Jimmy Fitzpatrick. I'm from Ballyfin. For those of you who don't know where Ballyfin is, just outside Portlaoise. I am the youngest of 9 children. I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters. I would like to tell you that I had a very privileged upbringing, privileged in a non-material sense. My father was a farmer, and my mother was a full-time housewife, full-time chef, full-time mediator, and full-time judge and jury, all built into one. She was a fantastic one. Both my parents worked from home. My father, as I said, was a farmer. We were completely self-sufficient on the farm. My father grew potatoes, all our vegetables. We had dairy. He provided all the milk from the farm. We made our own butter. My mum baked everything. We had our own beef. And glad to say there was no horse meat in that beef back then. However, in a material way, we didn't have family holidays because we had a small car and 11 of us practically couldn't fit in the car all at one time. And we had none of the latest sports stock or Man United strips. We had none of the latest maybe fashion or a telephone or satellite dishes. But when I got Clark's shoes, they were from Clark's up the road. My parents were incredibly influential in my life. They showed us as a family what love was, what respect was, and they guided us in life. Education. I attended both primary and secondary school in Ballyfin. When it came to my leaving cert, I wanted to be a translator because I had studied both French and German. I didn't get the points at the time, so I went on to Athlone College where I studied business and languages. I subsequently left and moved to Dublin where I spent 3 years working in the city centre. For want of another word, I got bored with what I was doing, so I took 5 months off and I decided I'd go travelling in the States, broaden my horizons as everyone does when they're 19 or 20. I came back to Dublin and I decided to take up a 9-month contract in an accounts firm to cover maternity leave. I ended up staying 6 years. They loved me and I said, what's not to love? During those 6 years while I was there, I went back to college at night. I studied initially computer programming and writing various programs to match systems. I did courses on wages and VAT and PAYE, and then I pursued a diploma in finance and tax through UCD. Following that, I moved back to Portlaoise. I was lucky enough to secure a job locally here in 2005. Two of the main reasons was I simply couldn't afford 300,000 for a semi-detached in Dublin, and in hindsight, what a fantastic move. Hindsight, as they say, is an exact science. And also, I wanted to build a house, so that was the second main reason for moving back. I put down the foundations of the house back in April 2005, and I never looked at it again for 5 years. I decided that September to go back to college and pursue an honours degree in tax and finance. I can, as sure as I'm standing here to tell you, it was the hardest 3 years of my life. I was working 40 hours a week in industry. I went to college full-time, part-time, 20 hours a week, and I studied at home between 20 and 40 hours a week. And in the end, it was certainly worth it. I qualified as a financial accountant tax consultant, and I currently work as a financial accountant, and I'm also assistant financial controller for Ireland for a UK company based here in Portlaoise. I specialise in debt analysis and cash flow. You'll be glad to hear I finished the house in 2010 after all my studies was finished. And it took so long that, in fact, the neighbours actually stopped asking questions about when it was going to be built or what I was doing in the house. I've been lucky enough to travel widely, even though, as my friend Mary will tell you, I have an inherent fear of flying. I would rather get up here, in fact, anytime and speak rather than go near a plane. But I force myself, I just get on the plane, worry about things, the technicalities later. So, I have introduced myself this evening. I've told you some of the highlights about myself, my family, my education, my work, and now I'd like to explain the title of my icebreaker. As you know, it's entitled At Last. Well, I had heard about Toastmasters for many years, maybe even as far back as Ballyfin College when I knew Mary Heaney was a member of it. But and I'm not sure how to explain why I never took the opportunity to join. So my friend Mary was down one day last September, and she happened to just mention she joined Toastmasters. So I was going, okay, well, this is an opportunity. So I said, okay, it's now or never. So I said, Mary, I'm going to tag along with you to the next Toastmasters meeting. And so here I am, basically. And I just want to say thank you to you all for your warm welcome from day one, for your words of encouragement and your continued support. And I'm certainly looking forward to the next year and being part of the Toastmasters organisation and growing with you. So, Mr. President, Madam Toastmaster, thank you and good evening. Wow.